Hello guys, today's video gonna be a Super 2 Basic Foundation Education number 3. Okay, this is gonna be continue the video number 2. For the video number 2, we did the how to cut the front bumper like this one right here. So make a Super 2 chassis become a bumpless. So for today's video, I'm going to teach you how to set up the bumperless using the most common the parts we have on the market. Okay, for set up the bumperless, we only can using the rear roller stay, which is this one right here. Okay, so you can see we have this carbon fiber version, which is right here. This one right here. This is very traditional type, and also they have the FRP version available on the market. And the next one, this is 2014 version, which is right here. And also you can using this one 2mm, the AR. This is I believe it's also 2013. And this one right here, this is 2015. Okay, and also they have this type, which is the item number 15243, the FRP rear roller stay for Super X chassis. This is also very common use one. Okay, so moving to the next, we're going to talk about how we set up those. So basically on the most rear roller stay, we have very common mounting point, which is locate, let me give a better angle. Okay, so you will see we have one mounting point right here. This is usually we mounting the roller plate like this on the back. So we're using this little mounting point, which is put on the bottom of the Super 2 chassis on the front. So you will notice Super 2, they have two little reserve mounting point right here. So we can using this one mounting right here. So this is going to replace our front bumper. Okay, so same as the other roller stay, you will notice they have same mounting point, which is located on the end of the roller stay. Okay, so and the next, you will notice the most roller stay, they have another two mounting point, which is this one and this one right here. Okay, so same thing as this one right here. Okay, and this one right here. The only difference it is like this one right here, the very last hole right here, they have a little bit bigger mounting point, but it doesn't really matter. They have same dimension. Even this hole right here, the mounting point have a little bit different, but actually they're exactly same dimension, as you can see when I put both together. Okay, and the same thing we have on this one right here, the 2014 version, and this is the carbon fiber version, and the same thing with the Super X, the FRP version. So you will notice they have two holes right here. And 2015, same thing. Okay, you will see right here and here. And for the AR, and the same thing, you're gonna see one here, and one here. Okay, so this is our this is the mounting point we're using to set up a bumperless. Okay, the only difference it is the on this carbon fiber version and the FRP version, this is the traditional one. They got a two extension mounting point. This is actually people using for mounting a brake, and of course that a brake is for the back. I mean, if you want to using this one for the front, and you have to remove it because it is too long. Okay, because remember what I'm talking about. If you try to set a bumpless for the Super 2 chassis, the reason you want to do the bumpless because you want to short the front like this one right here. Okay, so you can save the space on the front and keep put that and extend that on the back, because remember the total dimension we have on the regulation, it is 165mm, which means that's the maximum the legal dimension you have on the longest on the car. So by the original chassis, which is right here, okay, you have the front you have, which is too long, which means when you put a plate right here and they put a roll on top of that, and which means you're gonna have too much extend on the front. So but for the Japanese style setting or either long tail setting, you try to short the front and keep the tail a little bit longer, because in this case The the brake you have on the back is longer. It is more stable on the jump, and it's more fast in the jump. Okay, so this is a type of sitting which is for the bumpless car, which is we have today on the Japan Cup. But anyway, it's really not. It really depends on what style you play. And some people don't like cut the front; they just mounting like regular and put it like regular, you know, the size of the back. You know, my personal really prefer this type of like, you know, bumpless and plus long tail, because first thing it is more durable. Second thing, it is more adaptable. Okay, because you can set up any type of roller you want it, and you can, you know, manage the space and the brake on the front and the underguard on the front, and also the back, the long tail. It is really a very interesting, and plus it's really stable. Okay, moving to the next, I'm gonna explain some of the very like a traditional setting for the bumpless, because I can make this video as long as possible, like 2 hours, 1 hour. Can, you know, there's a lot of talking because there's a lot of combination. But for the most people, like a new racer, I try to make it as short as possible, and try to give you some like a general idea how to set up. Not try to confuse you, because there's really too much I can talk about it. So I just gonna talk about the in general the point. Okay, so the most common used one for today, 2015, it is this one right here, and some of this one, and maybe some people using the AR, which is this one right here. Okay, so this is the most common one we're using, and of course there's a carbon fiber version, and we're gonna for today's demo, we're only gonna using the FRP. It is works same as the carbon fiber. The only difference it is the carbon fiber is stronger and lighter, but of course it's costly. Okay, first combination, we're gonna using the 19mm as the front roller, and this one as the base, and the 2mm popsicle as the roller stay. Okay, so here's a combination. First we put this one on it. Okay, so it looks like this, and I'm gonna put on a setting board. You can see more details. So this one right here is totally 180-degree flat. Okay, like this. So next, you will notice when you try to set up the roller stay on top of that, there's no way you can mount a roller. Why? Because this hole right here, the 19mm hole, was got a block by this thing right here. Okay, so next modification, it is you have to remove part of it. So in this case, you can mount the roller. Okay, so this is the drawing I have. Some people, they using a plastic cutter to cut like all the way like this. Okay, like this type. Okay, but my personal don't really recommend cutting all of it. So you just have to cut a little bit angle like this, like my drawing. And in this case, can keep this area like open, so the roller stay can mount right here, and you can having two open area right here, so we can mount in the roller. The reason I don't want to cut all the way, let me remove that and tell you why. Okay, you have two options: either using a plastic cutter to just cut it, or either using a Dremel. Okay, I'm really prefer using Dremel. Let me take off this thing first, and we can go ahead and cut it. Okay, just gonna go ahead and cut it. Okay, right here, I just finished the cutting. So this is the shape gonna be looks like, and you're gonna see Then we're gonna put the roller stay on top of that. Okay, it's gonna be looks like this. So right now you can see we have the 19mm roller mounting point right here. It's being open, so there's nothing block it. Okay, so you can mounting the 19mm roller on top of that. And the reason I don't want to cut it all the way, I keep this little wing and this little wing right here, because this is for the purpose of the underguard. And the reason why I'm saying that, because remember, when you have the roller stay right here, you're putting a roller right, you put a screw right here and put your roller right here. Okay, so you will notice you have a screw head right here stick out. So what happened onto this screw head right here? So when your car jump and when car land, remember the screw head gonna be maybe have potential chance to get caught on the side of the truck like this. Okay, so this is most common happen that you got caught on the side of the truck. Okay, so and with this little pieces extension right here, okay, you're gonna having a better chance, which is protect this little screw head to get caught on the side of the truck. So basically, when your car was jumps and land, and if you have a little bit chance to get caught on the side on the screw head, you're gonna be slipped. Okay, like this. So this is preventing this little thing get caught on the side. So you better keep a little bit more, so when your car jump and land, you're totally safe. Okay, so this is one of the purpose, which is we keep like the side like this. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put this one top of the chassis first. Okay, next let's take a look at it. So here's the setting right here. Okay, so you will notice the front bumper is really low, because that's one of the character of a Super 2 chassis, and also that's my favorite, because Super 2 they really have very lower front bumper. Okay, so this bumper right here, it is about 4mm away from the ground. Okay, so next you have option for the front brake. It is not really brake, you just need something on the front to give a little bit of cushion when it is moving to the slope. Okay, so the best way and easiest way, and that's the most people they do, they put a little bit sponge right here like this one. Make sure you're using the sleepy one like this one right here. They have a green or the blue one. Okay, so you better put this one right here. So you will notice if you have this little pieces right here. Okay, let me cut one small pieces. Okay, here's a piece we have. Okay, take off the top one right here, follow the line, and remove the extra pieces. Okay, so this is the most easy way, I think, for the front, the cushion, because you need some cushion on the front. Otherwise, it's gonna be there's nothing on the front. Okay, it's gonna be scratch the truck. So it's like this, and I'm pretty sure people notice this thing, it is too low. It is less than 1mm, which is not legal. So this is another problem we have, because everybody has a different size of tire. Okay, so the most common size tire, the most common size people using it is 26, 26.5, or 27. So actually this is only 26. Okay, so we'll notice it is too low. So in this case, you can remove this one, because you have to keep using different type like the brake to adjust the front, because some brake maybe it is a little bit like too much for the front because it is too low. So in this case, you can try to using the like this one right here. Okay, but this one, remember, this is very heavy brake. So let me put on first, and then we talk about it. Okay, So it looks like this. Right now, I'm pretty sure it's legal. Okay. So right now it is about 1.2 millimeter. Okay. Okay. So another setting you have to do it is because basically make sure when you're using this type of brake, make sure you have to put tape. What I mean it is you don't really need a brake at all. This thing actually works as a brake. I don't want this one working as a brake. I want this one acting as something slippy, and I can when when my car heading the slope, it's giving very smooth, like no stop, like on the front, because I don't want anything resistant on the front, because that's gonna be slow you down a lot when you jump to the slope, especially when you have some lane change, or either like rainbow lane change and something of climbing, or either something like some kind of like a banking like goes up. So this thing really slow you down a lot. So the best way it is make sure you're using a Tamiya tape to tape it like this. Okay, so in this case the front no longer have brake. Okay, it's really sleepy. Right now it's moving to the very important explanation on this system. Okay, so I have the front brake right here, but I tape it, makes more a little bit like smooth, and the back I have brake right here. Okay, so this is how this system works for the bump plate setting. Okay, right now I have about 1.2 millimeter clearance on the front, and the same thing on the back. I have about a 1.2 millimeter. Okay, so this is you can do 1.5. It doesn't really matter. It really depends on how you're gonna control your the jump and what type of brake you're using. Okay, so let me move into the truck so you can see the detail. Okay. Okay, so you can see when you have the front like taped like this, so the front is gonna be 1.2 millimeter away from ground. It's really low, and this is how this thing works. I'm slowly approaching my car to the slope. You notice my car stops. Okay, so stops. It is not because I have the front, this one right here, stops my car. It is because I have lower front, so this thing, when it is first contact with my slope right here, it is lift front the front up, and in this case the back gonna be drop. Okay, so this is how my brake system got tricked, and so it's moved to here. Okay, so it is lift the front and make my rear brake, which right here, to contact with the about right here. So this is what happened. Let me do that again. You will see. So my car slowly move to the slope, and the front and it goes up, and the back the brake goes down. So this is my brake getting to having a resistance. Front totally no resistance at all. Okay, for the back you will notice there's huge resistance. This is how I control my jump. It is not using a front as a brake. You have to using your back as a brake. The front you want to make it lower because you want to having your brake on the back, and it works a little bit earlier. Because remember, if you don't have the front tape like this, probably your car move about right here, your brake starting getting tricked. So in this case, your jumping angle gonna be really high, but with this type of setting right here, so your jumping angle gonna be very lower. So which means you can control your jump, make it a bit lower jump. Okay, so the reason you want to make the front a little bit sleepy, because if you have too much brake on the front, what's gonna happen is you're gonna stop right here, and it's gonna be give you too much slow down. Okay, which is no good, because you try to make it jump and the lower possible and the faster possible. Okay, so this is how it is works. So you try to make the front when it's enter to the right here get a little bit sleepy. So in this case you can jump a little bit faster, but also you need a little bit slow down, and this part it is controlled by the rear brake. Okay, so this is the combination, and try to set up like this, and try to test on the truck. You will notice the difference. Okay. Okay, before I move back to my table, let me finish another explanation. Remember, we keep a little bit the wing right here to keep this screw head get blocked. The reason why, remember, every single time your car will jump and land, maybe sometimes we'll have a potential chance your side and front are gonna get a cut like this. So with this type of setting, which is we keep a little bit side wing right here, so it's gonna be, when it get a cut, it's gonna be slipped. Okay, if you don't have this sitting right here, what's gonna happen it is this screw head, okay, this screw head right here, the silver one, the screw head right here, gonna be get a grab right here. It's really hard to shake it off, or either it's really slow to recovery. So with this type of setting, which right here, you're only gonna be direct contact with the smooth surface, which is right here. So when it's get a cut, it slips. So like this. Okay. So that's why you keep a little bit right here to preventing this little screw head to get a stick out and you get a cut on the side of this thing right here. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna talk another setting. It is the difference between the 19mm roller setting versus the 13mm roller setting. Okay. So you have to know that the purpose of bumpless, it is to short the front as possible as we can. Okay. So in this case, when we're using 19mm roller and we're mounting the underplate and the roller stay by this point and this point, which is totally fine, because you will notice the 19mm roller, the space will take is up to all the way to here. Even it's more than this little wing right here. Okay, so everything is fine. But when using a 13 or either like this, like a double layer roller, you will notice this little thing right here, the black, like the wing right here, it stick out too much. So in this case, you have two options, because it is kind of pointless for the bumper sitting like this, because this is extra pieces you have. So we should have cut it. Okay, you have two options. And the first option, it is remove it. What I mean, it is remove the extra pieces like this. Okay, because you can cut this off, and this is how much you're gonna save on the front, and you can move this space right here to the back. Okay, in this case, you can keep the back a little bit longer. So you can use the Dremel to remove it. Okay, this is what and this is what happened to this setting right here. So you notice I'm using 13 right here, and this thing is stick out too much. So I'm using a advanced machine to remove this piece to short a little bit. Okay, so we'll notice. Let me put it side by side. You will notice the difference. See that? This is how many I remove. Okay, I remove actually a lot to keep the front a bit shorter. Okay, so this is the purpose. You try to short the front, and you're gonna keep you're gonna using the extra space you save to put on the back. Okay, this is how you manage your longest of your car. Okay, so with 19mm roller, you can do that without any cutting, because no matter how this thing gonna be the 19mm roller gonna be longer than the front right here. But there's, of course, there's another like the special situation, especially like 2015 the plate right here. This thing actually having too much like useless pieces will stick out like too much. Okay, so the best recommend for the most people, when they sit in a car, you better remove all this, because all this, it is just extra pieces. You don't need it. If you keep all this here, what's gonna happen is you can't short too much on the front and put on the back. Okay, so this is really complicated combination that especially most new people, most new racers, you have to understand the setting of a bumpless. Because let me show you this. This car actually totally exceed the regulation, because my car is too long. It doesn't really fit to this box. The reason why I'm using 19 right here, because this setting on the back, it is only for 13mm roller. Okay, So what I mean it is, let me put my 13mm roller back to the chassis. You will know the difference. Okay. Okay, right here. This is my 13mm roller sitting on the front. So right now you can see my car is perfectly fit to the measurement box. The reason why, because when you're using 19mm roller setting, it's totally different than the 13mm roller. You have to remove the extra pieces, which is right here. So in this case, I remove the extra pieces. So in this case, I can save. I can put the space I save on the front and put on the back. So when I'm using this 19mm roller put on the front, you will notice totally not a fit, because in this case, when you're using 19 and the back, you're gonna try to make it a bit shorter, because otherwise it won't fit, because you only have a 165mm on the longest dimension on this measurement box. Okay, so this is the difference of sitting. Okay, so before I end of this video, I just have to tell you that when you sit in bumpless, make sure what type of roller you're gonna put. Okay, if you're gonna using 13 and the back, the size is gonna be totally different. If you're gonna using 19, the back is gonna be a little bit shorter. Okay, because the 19 take the most space on the front. Okay, so this is the one I'm talking about. So you have to trim off the amount on the front as needed. Okay, so try to keep it as short as possible. Okay, I'm not talking about roller, because roller, the size is there. Okay, there's kind of no way you can save too much space. Okay, but so like extra pieces like this one right here, okay, you have like too much like a useless pieces stick out, you better remove all of it. Okay, like this one right here. So when I put it side by side, you will notice I remove actually a lot. So this is how much I remove. Okay, so of course when you're using 19, you can keep a little bit more, but it's really up to what size you want to use, what type of roller. And another thing I want to talk about before the end of this video, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people see another setting on the front, and it is using the another like a carbon fiber popsicle, like this one, or either this one right here. Okay, so this is what I do. I'm using the carbon fiber popsicle put on the back, on the bottom. Okay, so like this. Okay, so in this case, this one, instead of using the sponge like tape like this, you also can do this type of setting. It's really up to you, but I'm personally really prefer this type, because this type, it's really save a lot of cost, and it's really giving you really soft cushion. Because this, what happened to this thing, it is people, they don't have the right tool to trim this one a little bit like round edges. Because remember, on the original, this one, it is really sharp like this. It's like square. Okay, so after you trim using a right tool to trim like this one a little bit like curve, so it's giving a better contact surface. And because remember, when you're hitting the bank and the slope, you know, between the truck to truck there's a gap, so you're probably gonna hit a gap. So that's why you have to trim this one a little bit like round, so in this case can, like, you know, bypass the gap like this. So this is another setting I have to talk about. So you can do this setting. It is, I'm pretty sure I have a lot of this type of setting on the tutorial. I'm gonna talk about this setting a little bit more when I set up another my Super 2 chassis for the tutorial, the basic setting. Okay, so today's video I just gonna teach you how to set up the front bumper. Okay,